Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the City of Little Rock Board of Directors meeting for June 6th, 2017. I'd like to welcome everybody that's in attendance. It looks like we have a full house here this evening. Madam Clerk, if you would, please read the roll.
Director Hendricks, Director Richardson, Director Peck, Director Hines, Director Wright, Director Wyrick, Director Compuris, Director Fortson, Director Adcock, Vice Mayor Webb, Mayor Stodler.
Here. Let me call on City Director Joan Adcock for our invocation, please.
Today and for this week. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the rains that make our flowers grow and our grass. Thank you for everything that you give us that we so do not deserve. Guide and direct us tonight, Lord, as we go through this meeting, that we remember that we're here to do the city's business, the business for all citizens, and that everyone is important to everything that we do and say here. Dear Heavenly Father, guide and direct our employees as they go about their jobs serving the citizens of Little Rock. Be with each and every one of them. God, tonight now, as we speak, that those things that we say and do will be pleasing to you and be pleasing to those that we serve. We ask in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. If you would, please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have some presentations to take care of first before we get into our agenda, and let me call on our city manager, Bruce Moore, for a police department retirement recognition. Bruce?
Thank you, Mayor and members of the board. Today we are celebrating the retirement of George E. Wilson. George has been with the police department 22 years. His awards and honors include the University District Little Rock Officer of the Year in 2012. He's Officer of the Month 2 times and numerous letters of commendation. George says his favorite memory of working for the city is responding to a call where there was a possible jumper on the Broadway Bridge. Upon my arrival, I made contact with the male subject who was on the second level of the bridge. After talking to him, he allowed me to take him to the Veterans Hospital. His plans for retirement include travel and spending time with his family. His wife, Valerie, is here also with him. And at this time, let me call on Assistant Chief Wayne Bewley to say a few words on behalf of the police department.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Manager, Directors. For those in the audience that do not know me, I'm Assistant Chief Wayne Bewley, and it is my honor to be here this evening for the celebration, the recognition for Officer George Wilson for his 22 years with the police department. It was my privilege to first meet and really get to know Officer Wilson during the time that I spent as the Downtown Patrol Division Commander. George was one of the officers that worked in that division. And he was a staple in the 12th Street corridor. One of the things that I can say about George is that he was a people person. He likes to help people. George was one that recognized the value of community policing and embraced that, even though he was in a patrol car answering calls, not assigned to a special assignment. He embraced the COP concept. He was a positive force on the 12th Street corridor, as I mentioned, often seen on the pick-pack parking lot, doing both positive contacts for the department as well as those enforcement actions that sometimes are needed there as well. He was a professional police officer. Our department and the citizens of Little Rock both will definitely miss Officer Wilson. George, Valerie, congratulations on your retirement and best wishes to you all in the future.
Officer Wilson, on behalf of the City of Little Rock, I want to thank you for 22 years of dedicated service. Best of luck in the future, and we'll miss you.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon. I appreciate this award. I met a lot of good people on 12th Street and in my neighborhood. A lot of people know me from in the neighborhood. I really do enjoy my job, and I'm going to miss it a lot. That's all.
George, you want to introduce your family that's here?
Yes. Thank you. My wife, Valerie. She let me know that when I get home, I'm not the police anymore. Kennedy Frazier. Thank you.
Best of luck to you, George. Thank you for all your service. Okay, and I have two proclamations to issue this evening. Director Wright would like to take care of one of these, and I'm happy to have her do so. Let me do the first one, however, which is a proclamation dealing with the issue of men's health. We don't live as long as many people, and so it's important that we accent some of the things that would be better for us to do to live a little bit longer. So I'm happy to issue this proclamation for all of the men in the audience and who may be watching on TV. The proclamation reads as follows: Know ye all people by these present greetings. Whereas despite advances in medical technology and research, men continue to live an average of 5 years less than women, with Native American and African American men living the lowest life expectancy. And whereas educating the public and healthcare providers about the importance of a healthy lifestyle and early detection of male health problems will result in reducing rates of mortality from disease. And whereas men who are educated about the value that preventive health can play in prolonging their lifespan and their role as productive family members will be more likely to participate in health screenings. And whereas the Men's Health Network worked with Congress to develop a national men's health awareness period as a special campaign to help educate men, boys, and their families about the importance of positive health attitudes and preventative health practices. And whereas Men's Health Month website has been established at www.menshealthmonth.org and features resources, proclamations, and information about the awareness events and activities, including wearing blue for men's health. And whereas Little Rock Men's Health Month will focus on a broad range of health issues, including heart disease, mental health, diabetes, prostate, testicular, and colon cancer. And whereas the citizens of Little Rock are encouraged to increase awareness of the importance of a healthy lifestyle with regular exercise and medical checkups, therefore I, Mark Stodola, the mayor of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, do hereby proclaim June 2017 as Men's Health Month here in the city of Little Rock. And witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and seal on the 6th day of June 2017. And I notice that at least Director Hines and myself are wearing blue, and perhaps some other people behind me. So here's to our health. Thank you. Director Wright, if you'll take care of the Children's Day, please.
Thank you. I asked to present this proclamation because it's in conjunction with an event that we are hosting at the new West Central Community Center. Back in February, I was contacted by Ms. Tamara Farisa, and I would like to ask her to join me at the podium. Ms. Farisa is a graduate of Parkview High School from 1993. She now resides in McKinney, Texas. When all of the gun violence began to hit our city, she contacted me and said that she wanted to help. And in succession, we had just so much going on, and she and I have been working on this since February. But it all has culminated into us hosting the Am I My Brother's Keeper Community Basketball Tournament and Community Fair. That will be held June 9th, 10th, and 11th. I don't know if many of you might recall, but President Obama implemented the Am I My Brother's Keeper campaign. And as I recall, we as a city signed on to that initiative. Well, we are implementing that initiative in a positive activity at the new West Central Community Center. We'll be commencing on Friday, on the 9th, that Friday, and we'll have a community fair. We'll be honoring and launching our Back the Blue initiative, where we will recognize our community police officers. And then we will have entertainment and a community fair whereby our young people can get an understanding of all the activities that we have in the city that's available to them through our community programs and through other private organizations. On Saturday, we'll host a basketball tournament that will begin at 8 a.m. and last through 9. We'll have a first place award for the champion of $500. And that Sunday will be National Children's Day, and we will culminate the event. And this initiative was brought to me by Ms. Farisa, and I do appreciate her for reaching back to her home city and wanting to give back to her community. She can explain better, but once I let her speak, I will read the proclamation.
Thank you so much for letting me speak tonight. I wasn't sure if I was going to speak. But basically, like I said, I came back home to do something with this gang and gun violence that we have had in the city. I've lost almost 15 plus kids, either to gang violence through death or either through imprisonment. So I decided that I had to do something as a citizen. I am a Texan. I have been a Texan for over 20 plus years, but I'm still an Arkansan. So I decided to come home, and like I said, I paired with Director Wright, also with the City of Little Rock, your youth programs and your organizations, and we came up with a great event that we hope that the community will support. This is an annual event, so that means every year we're going to make sure that we do something to celebrate National Children's Day. The basketball tournament will be our reasoning of celebration, as well as, like she said, we will continue our community fair, which we hope will grow. And as we said, the tournament will grow, and the city will, look to Ms. Wright as a community involvement, and also the city to know that the city cares about the kids. I've heard from various people within the community. They are excited about it. The kids are happy to know that the city cares. So as I told all of my individuals that donated, those not in the city, I do have donations from people all over the United States that are friends of mine that live here, don't live here, are caring about what has happened here in our city. So I say to all of them, because we care, let's just make sure that I am my brother's keeper.
Thank you, Tamara. And this young lady brought me a 5-year commitment. I do want you all to know that. So we have an agreement, and I'm very appreciative of her commitment and her passion. She and her team have worked tirelessly on this, and if any of you ever pulled off an event, you know there's a lot of work that goes on before that event takes place. So I really do appreciate you, Tamara. But I want to read this proclamation, and it says, "Know ye all people by these presents greetings. Whereas all children are created equal, and they are endowed with certain unalienable rights. And whereas the future of Little Rock, children are the highest priority of our city. And whereas it is especially important that the citizens of our city be aware of the needs of our children, and whereas all citizens of our city should promote a safe and healthy environment for our children, and whereas during the month of June, all citizens of the city of Little Rock should unite in aiding to further the cause of hope for our children. Is therefore Mark Stoller, Mayor, the City of Little Rock, Arkansas, do hereby proclaim June 11, 2017 as Children's Day in the City of Little Rock. In witness thereof, he has set his hand and seal of the City of Little Rock to be affixed on this 6th day of June in the year of our Lord, 2017, and is signed Mark Stoller, Mayor, City of Little Rock." Okay. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Director Wright, and thank you. We encourage everybody to get out there on June 9th and 10th. Okay, that concludes the presentations that we have. Next, we can move to the modifications of the agenda. Mr. Moore, are you wishing to add ordinance M1?
And Mayor, as I mentioned yesterday, this will allow, this is an amendment that will allow the city to purchase our long-term disability through our broker, Stevens Inc.
If there's no objection, we'll go ahead and, if there's a motion to add it, we'll add it to the grouped items. Second. There's a motion and a second to add this to our ordinances. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed saying nay. It will be added. Very good. And there's also a request to defer ordinance number 20, to continue a deferral of that. Is there a motion for deferral? There's a motion and a second to defer this until June 20th. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. And it will be deferred as well.
Mr. Odola, before you go to the consent agenda, I want to bring to the board's attention item number 15, which grants an easement to Texas Eastern Transmission LP for them to relocate a pipe that they're being required to relocate pursuant to the federal government. Late this afternoon, we found out that the Airport Commission had also granted an easement, but the Airport Commission can't actually grant the property interest without this board's approval because it's our property. So number 15 has been amended to add a section that mentions the action of the Airport Commission and to add a copy of their easement agreement as an exhibit. So when that's read, that's actually what's going to be before you tonight. It will be 2 easements instead of 1.
So is there a motion to add the airport amendment to this resolution?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, Resolution 15 will be read as amended. All right, and
Because you've got the right title.
we have a card on item 17, so Madam Clerk, if you would, we'll leave that separate, please. And if you would, we can go ahead and read the consent agenda. I also have a card on item 12. Mr. Muse, do you still wish to speak on that issue? No? Okay, very good. You can go ahead and read the consent agenda.
The consent agenda consists of a resolution to set June 20th, 2017 as the date of public hearing on the request to abandon various rights-of-way and plats in the Chamber of Commerce Edition, the Granite Park Edition, and the Frisbee Edition, and for other purposes. A resolution to set June 20th, 2017 as the date of public hearing on the request to abandon the public right-of-way for an easement that is a portion of C Street located west of Walnut Street in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes. A resolution to set June 20th, 2017 as the date of public hearing on the request to abandon the access easement located at 324 Walnut Street in the Glendale subdivision in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for other purposes. A resolution to certify local government endorsement of Spectron Systems LLC located at 400 West Capitol Avenue, Suite 1727, Little Rock, Arkansas, to participate in the Arkansas Tax Back Program as authorized by Arkansas Code Section 15-4-2706D of the Consolidated Incentive Act of 2003, and for other purposes. A resolution authorizes the city manager to enter into a contract with Mark McClarty Ford in an amount not to exceed $90,944 for the purchase of 4 Ford F-150 trucks for the Planning and Development Department and for the purposes, funding from the 2012 5/8 operational improvement sales tax. A resolution authorizes the city manager to enter into a contract with Silsby Ford in an amount not to exceed $66,978 for the purchase of 2 Ford Transit vans for the Fleet Services Department, utilizing the Houston Galveston Area Council contract, and for the purposes funding from the 2012 5/8 operational improvement sales tax. A resolution authorizes the city manager to enter into contract with Timco in an amount not to exceed $512,050 for the purchase of 2 street sweepers for the Public Works Department, utilizing the Houston Galveston Area Council contract, and for the purposes. Funding for 1 vehicle will be from the 2012 5/8 operational improvement sales tax. A resolution authorizes the city manager to enter into a contract with Little Rock Equipment Sales in an amount not to exceed $105,500 for the purchase of a tractor with boom mower for the Public Works Department, utilizing the Houston Galveston Area Council contract, and for other purposes. A resolution authorizes the city manager to enter into a contract with Little Rock Equipment Sales in an amount not to exceed $86,900 for the purchase of a tractor with side and rear rear flare mowers for the Public Works Department utilizing the Houston Galveston Area Council contract, and for the purposes, a resolution authorizes the city manager to enter into an annual purchasing order with Mid-South Sales in an annual amount not to exceed $2 million to provide fuel and gasoline to the city, to authorize an option to renew the contract in 1-year increments up to 2 years, and for the purposes, a resolution authorizes the city manager to enter into an annual purchase order with United Engines LLC in an amount not to exceed $150,000 to remove, rebuild, and install Allison transmission installations on city vehicles, and to provide the necessary parts and services to allow for the possible extension of the annual purchase order, and for other purposes, a resolution authorizes the city manager to execute an agreement with Manhattan Road and Bridge Company in an amount not to exceed $1,325,180.40 for the Arkansas River Trail Bike Path Connector Phase 1, and for other purposes, a resolution authorizes the city attorney to use eminent domain to the acquisition of right-of-way and permanent and temporary construction easements for the Rush Street Improvement Project, and for the purposes, a resolution to authorize the city attorney to execute a right-of-way easement to Davis Bend Properties Management, an Arkansas limited liability company, including its successors and assigns, and for the purposes, a resolution to grant Texas Eastern Transmission LP an easement to locate a pipeline within certain parkland within the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, as required, to ratify the grant of an easement by the Little Rock Airport Commission to Texas Eastern Transmission LP, and for the purposes, a resolution to authorize renewal of interlocal agreement for ambulance service between the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and the city of Cabot, Arkansas, which grants the Little Rock Ambulance Authority, doing business as Metropolitan Emergency Medical Services, an exclusive franchise to provide ambulance service to the city of Cabot, Arkansas, and for the purposes, a resolution to express support for the proposal to extend the existing property tax millage for the Pulaski County Special School District in order to support the construction of needed facilities, to encourage citizens to vote for the extension at the election to be held on June 13th, 2017, and for the purposes, a resolution to make reappointment to the Central Arkansas Water Board of Commission, and for the purposes, that concludes the consent agenda.
Agenda?
There's a motion and a second to adopt the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Okay. If the record would reflect that Director Hendricks is voting nay on Resolution 18. The consent agenda has passed, as well as the Resolution 18 by a vote of 9-1. Okay, we can now, let me ask for a reading of Resolution number 17, please.
A resolution to request the Arkansas State Board of Education to set a date for an election to be held for a new Little Rock School District Board in accordance with and upon the effective date of Act 930 of 2017, and for other purposes.
I have Superintendent Michael Poor here. Michael Poor here, who wishes to speak on this. Let me recognize Superintendent Poor. Welcome.
Thank you. I haven't got called Moore. Usually it's Poor and all sorts of other options, but I appreciate the opportunity to be in front of all of you. I'll try to be as brief as possible. I want to thank, first off, the city for the multiple ways that you are supporting the school district. That's come in a variety of different ways, and sometimes I don't think probably our public recognizes that. As an example, a big chunk of the volunteer hours that are accumulated, they actually happen as a result of city employees, board directors, all coming in and jumping in to support the Little Rock School District. Our school district had over $19 million of volunteer hours last year in our community. That's a stat that doesn't get out there all the time, and it deserves to, because it's saying that people really care about our kids. But I think the partnership is much deeper than that. I appreciate the fact that Mayor Stola and I meet on a month-to-month basis. City Manager Moore is always available, and we meet regularly. Dana Doucette helping us with a new partnership with Bright Futures. Both chiefs, police and fire, have been extremely accessible in helping us with our career tech programs as well as safety. And then the access of each of you as city directors has come in multiple ways, whether it's in phone calls or emails or attending events that we have within the school system. I think all of you realize that when I came on board as the superintendent of Little Rock, I was given 3 basic tasks, and the first one, and the one that's being tackled tonight, is to get local control back into the school system. I feel that there's a variety of different things that this district's trying to do to regain that local control. And again, the city has been right there with us to help. I'm in favor of anything that we can do to get local control back. And I'm going to do everything in my power as your superintendent to make that happen. And especially my end of it comes in terms of making our school district great. And I pledge that I will continue to work on that. Act 930 is kind of a new element that we all ought to be aware of. And it comes with a much bigger meaning than just talking about local control for the Little Rock school system. Act 930 comes as a replacement to the No Child Left Behind Act that was replaced now with something called the Every Student Succeeds Act. It does tackle this whole issue of what you do with a distress school, but it's a much bigger piece of legislation than just talking about how you deal with distressed school systems. It's talking about how our state has to deal with accountability. Right now, on our website, not our website, but on the state's website, the Arkansas Department of Education, you can read all about this act, Act 930, and you can actually provide comments to help guide and shape how the state board actually creates the rules for this. So I would ask you to really pay attention to that, participate. It's a chance to impact how this legislation will actually come in terms of the rules. The rules are anticipated to be delivered in August, and at that time, there's going to be a couple things that will impact the Little Rock school system. We should have a much greater clarity of the expectations and the forms of collaboration that the state now expects the school system to do to work with the Department of Education. That's one thing that I believe will happen. A second thing that will happen out of this act that deals specifically with the Little Rock school system is to define with more clarity what can happen in terms of regaining a local board. So I don't know exactly how that's going to take shape. And all I can say is that we can all participate right now. And so certainly whatever you do with this resolution, there's another whole angle at this to make sure that we participate in the process of Act 930 with the State Department. And I thank you for the opportunity to speak on this tonight, and appreciate that, Mayor, you pushed this back a little bit so that I could attend this evening.
Well, thank you, Mr. Poore. And, you know, the resolution speaks to many of the accolades that the school district should be very, very proud of. And the fact that you weren't able to make it the first time allowed me to add some information that I think is very valuable for the public to know and to realize about some of the excellent things going on in our school district and the excellent teachers that we have as well. So thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you.
There may be some directors that have some questions for you, Mike. Director Richardson.
Thank you, Mayor. Not a question for you, Mike. Mayor, last week, I think we talked briefly about those of us who are going to be co-sponsors of this resolution. I want to make sure and for certain that I'm listed as one of the co-sponsors for this resolution. I don't think we had a kind of clarity with respect to who want their name on it or not. I think a couple of us made reference that we want our name on it, but I want to make sure for the record that I'm listed as one of the co-sponsors.
I think our city clerk is taking care of that, yes. Director Peck.
Mayor, I'd like to call the question.
Second.
Okay, the question has been requested. Just a second, Director Hendricks. The question has been called and it's been seconded, so we have to vote on that. If we vote on that and the vote is yes, then we'll call for an immediate vote on the resolution. So let me first of all have discussion on the motion. The motion is to call the question. So let me recognize you, Director Hendricks, on the issue of calling the question.
No, my issue is to the speaker.
Well, we're only on the motion now. You have to speak to the motion of calling the question. I think your point would be is that you would
Tom,
wish
is
to
that right?
speak.
Why am I not able to speak in reference to what he did? I had my light on.
Director Hendricks, I don't know how he had recognized Director Peck, and Director Peck made the motion to call the question. It was seconded, so that's a priority motion.
Tom, I don't buy that because I had my light on before she spoke. I turned my light on when he
But she
first
was
started
recognized
speaking.
before.
Now, if you want to deal with it in the court, we can do that.
That would be fine, but
I
under Robert's
had my light
rules, it's a
on while he
priority
was speaking.
motion.
I don't care whether she, we got a thing going here.
Okay, but that's what happened.
That's left up to you.
Director Adcock, do you wish to speak on the motion of calling the question?
The speaker.
Well, if the motion
know that.
fails, then I will recognize Director Hendricks, and then I'll recognize you. Okay? So, all in favor of calling the question indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
You better do a roll call on that, just to be fair to
Let us
everyone.
speak. If you let Ken speak, you should let everybody else speak. Why would you let Ken speak and nobody else? Is he some special? I don't think so.
Dr. Hendricks?
I'm voting nay. Are you talking about this thing that they just said?
Well, they asked for a roll call.
Nay.
For,
Nay,
okay.
nay, nay,
Director
nay.
Richardson? Yes. Director Peck?
Yes.
Director Hines? No. Director Wright? No. Director Wyrick? No. Director Campuris? Yes. Director Fortson? Yes. Director Adcock? No. Vice Mayor Webb? Yes. It's 5-5.
Well, in the effort of fairness, I'm not going to try and break that tie between all of you, so we'll go we'll go ahead and recognize then Director Hendricks. Go ahead, please.
Almost made me forget what I had to do. My God. That wasn't even necessary, man. I want my constituents to know that I represent you. The thing that I want to say is that I did meet with Mr. Pooh and Mr. Keys before all this happened. I think everybody in this room knows I'm a Republican, and I don't back off of that. So I support whatever it is that the governor is instructing them to do. I'm through.
Director Adcock, you're recognized, please.
I'm one of those people that Mr. Poore talked about. I spent a whole day last week at Cloverdale Middle School, working with the students out there. And I've talked to lots of the principals and everything, and I can tell you our school district is doing a fabulous job with our community. Just go to Baseline, go to so many of the schools. I also was in a meeting with several of the principals recently and talked to them. They all had good spirits. They all was talking about new ideas, new things that they was doing. I think they're all working as hard and as fast as they can to get this back to local control. And I'm like Director Hendricks, I think we need to just slow down and we need to let the process work. We need to say someday we will be. But, you know, I would like to ask each of you, how many of y'all have been out recruiting people to run for this school board? You know, when North Little Rock and other places, Pulaski County, whenever they have turned theirs around and everything, they was out working for people to run for the school board. I've not had one person come to me and say, hey, I want to run for the school board. When we get local control back, I want to run for the school board. Our people are not ready for that, I don't think. I think our people are waiting to see, and I think it needs to be time, and I don't see pushing this. And Mayor, I think I kind of got my feelings hurt a little bit when I read your list of all the wonderful things that has been done in the school district. And I looked at all the schools, and even Hall High School was mentioned twice, and you left out completely all the schools in Southwest Little Rock. There was not a school in Southwest Little Rock on that list, and I can sit here and name you school after school in Southwest Little Rock that are doing great, that the kids are doing amazing things. Hey, Baseline Elementary School was the first school to come off the distress list, and that's a very hard school. Other schools have had big achievements, so if you make another list, Mayor, I wish you would also include Southwest Little Rock in your list.
Well, that
But I'm
was,
going
that was
to-
specifically referenced in the resolution, and I don't think that's accurate. I got the list actually from the school district, so certainly there are many, many accolades. We could have probably filled up 4 or 5 pages of them with all the things that are happening in the schools. So I think there was a list that really trying to suggest to the Board of Education ultimately that there are, as Act 930 will allow, there are many other ancillary issues that can be looked at above and beyond the issue of the academic distress of the 3 schools that remain.
And I will tell you that last Tuesday, I spent from 9 a.m. until 3:30 with the Arkansas Department of Education Board. And I feel very confident that those people have the best interest of all of our citizens, but mainly the best interest of all of our children before them. And I feel like they, like you and everyone else, wants us to have local control, but there's a process and there'll be a time. Thank you.
Director Richardson.
Yes, Mayor. Thank you. With respect to recruiting people to run for a school board, it was probably a moot point when we didn't have that opportunity for that to happen. And secondly, Mayor, I think that those of us who have been doing that, and those of us who have been involved with school-related activities, that would be the easiest thing to claim up here and the hardest thing to prove up here. It'd be hard to quantify any kind of individual involvement with the school district and different schools and different individuals in our community who have interest in our school district. So there are a number of us who I think requested or worked with or recruited people to run for school board, but it would have been a moot point when we didn't have the opportunity to do that. So, and that kind of activity or involvement in any of the school system would probably be the easiest thing to claim up here and will be the hardest thing to prove in terms of quantifying those activities.
Director Hendricks, you're recognized.
I'll make it brief, but I had to come back. I will share with you what I shared with Mr. Pooh and Mr. Keys, is for the governor to appoint a Little Rock School Board chairman for 1 year, to advertise for residents to apply as a member of the Little Rock School District if interested. Sort of like what Joan said, nobody's really come up and said it. The Little Rock School Board member to be appointed by Governor Hutchinson to identify and draw biracial school district boundaries, which we don't have now, and to elect, the election to be held prior to, and I think Mr. Poonem shared with me that there's no room for an election this year. And the selection of school board members be determined by a committee. That's for 1 year. That's what I gave the governor.
Okay, I have two cards that wish to speak on the matter, that wish to speak in favor of it. Dale Charles. She didn't want to do it again.
Good afternoon, Mal
She needs to do
Stoller,
it now.
City Board of Directors. I'm here to speak on several things I've heard about. Number one, I think that any adult citizen in this city is concerned about kids getting a quality education. That's number one, because we know what all goes along with that. 60 years ago, this September, the NAACP integrated Central High School. 60 years ago, this September. 50 years ago, we celebrated our 5th anniversary. This year, from what I'm hearing, whatever progress we made 60 years ago in September, we've gone backwards because we don't have a school board. People are being taxed without any representation. I submit to all of you here in this city, in this state, that we don't want to go back to the dark eye of 1957. That was a terrible time. That was a time when black student was permitted to go to Central High School by the governor, Arkansas National Guard. President Eisenhower had to federalize the troops, had to bring 10,000 soldiers here in Little Rock in 1957, just so that black kids had the benefit of Brown versus Board of Education, which said they had a right to go to Central High School. As a result of that, the school was closed. There are some people in this room tonight that never got a chance to graduate from high school because we closed those schools after 1957. We talk about moving forward and progress. Why don't we all just step back for a minute and look through the lens of fairness? What is fair? Mayor, whatever fair for you is fair for me and the rest of you board members. There have been some questions about we don't need to be dabbling into the business of the State Department of Education. Why not? We pay those people salary. We pay those people salary. You're going to tell me you're going to tax me and I can't say nothing to you about how you're going to spend my money? Come on now. This is 2017, not 1957. So I applaud the board member who is concerned about giving the school board back local control. For the first time in the history, the NAACP opposed a millage increase. Why? Because we felt like there's no school board We've been taxed without representation. And when you look at all of this whole thing that's been going on, it's still about race in 2017 and 2015. When are we gonna get over that? When are we gonna get over it? We talk about progress. We talk about all of these things that we want. Everybody in this room wants best for them and their children and their family. And if you don't, you need to be at the state hospital. I'm serious. I applaud all you board members who moving forward to say to the State Department of Education Board, Mr. Poore, because Mr. Poore and I served on the Education Committee coming up for 2017 in September. We co-chair the Education Department. But on this issue, I have to part with him different because I feel like we need our school board back. And I applaud the City Board of Directors who want to exercise Act 930 of 2017. Now, y'all remember this last year when the same State Board of Education gave back Pulaski County. When they gave it back, they ran folks and they had competition for the board. They set up a training session for all of those new board members to go through, and they elected a new board. Now they come up with a tax extension. People will support what they see benefit for themselves. Right now, I don't see any benefit for not having a school board. I'm gonna be embarrassed for the Little Rock 9 to come in September and we don't even have a school board. They went through pure hell in 1957 to make things better, and today we're going backwards. What did they sacrifice for? Minnie Jean Brown and all of those went through over that Central. Were treated like a dog. Was the worst legalized segregation that ever been in America, happened over in Central in 1957. It took President Eisenhower federalizing the truth overdue fathers to say, yeah, the court says they must go, and I'm gonna do everything in my power for them to go. So I suggest that Mr. Poore, Mr. Key, take a page out of progress and give back this school board to local control, and you'll see a tremendous change in the concept of help educating all of our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Charles. The final card I have is from Dr. Anika Whitfield.
Mayor Stola, Vice Mayor Webb, and the City Board of Directors, Bruce as well. I just wanted to come before you because I think that the resolution is a good start, but I think that one of the challenges that I have, although I think it's a good start, is that Act 930 would delay the process to return local control, and there's no reason why, according to current state law, that we could not have local control as of tomorrow. And I do want to say that the school board members or State Board of Education members are acutely aware of that. I've sent out emails to them. I've talked to the chair. I've talked to Mr. Key, and Mr. Key has admitted that that could happen at any time. And so I would ask that you go a step further and not just propose a resolution, but that you speak to people such as Mr. Key, such as Governor Hutchinson, such as the Walton Family Foundation, and let them know we want our local elected board back. We want people that represent the people and the citizens of Little Rock back in elected positions. Also to the point that At-Large Director Joan Adcock made about being at the State Board of Education meeting on last Tuesday. I found it very heartwarming that she was there all day long to support a charter school to stay open. And she offered 2 or 3 remarks, I believe. I was present for one of them. But I wanted to say it would be as equally supportive for the Little Rock School District as you say that you are, and I hope that other people who state that they are for the Little Rock School District to come down to the State Board of Education meeting, the very next one, and make an appeal for local control to be restored to the Little Rock School District. Director Adcock, you were very aware that there was a well-orchestrated plan to make sure that that charter school stayed open. And that plan definitely had some dollars backing it, definitely had the Walton Family Foundation backing it. And if you have connections with them, let them know we want our district back. And just as you advocated very strongly for them based on the challenges that those students have, we have students in the Little Rock School District that have equally the same types of challenges. And so we need to be regarded the same way. We need to have the same special session that was granted to that Covenant Keepers Charter School. And so I would like to see us not just put a resolution together, but put your connections together. So many people that sit on this city board of directors, you guys have a lot of power and weight because you know a lot of influential people. You know people in high places. And so rather than just put a resolution out, I'd ask that you demand immediate restoration of local control for the Little Rock School District from those people that hold the purse. And many of us know that it's not Mr. Poor. He's a very nice man, but he's not the one that's in control. That's Johnny Key, Governor Hutchinson, and the Walton Family Foundation. So I would ask that you would reach even further to them.
Thank you very much. Director Hendricks.
My response was really to Anika to let her know that, come here, darling. What I wanted to share with you is that at the last meeting, I personally encouraged these folk up here to get in touch with their state legislators and their senators. So I agree with you. It's really not the responsibility altogether of this board, and that's the reason why I oppose the resolution. You know, I don't believe in what you call it, sliding the issue. That's what this resolution is all about. Go face your legislative persons.
Well, and I just wanted to say that I wasn't suggesting that I'm particularly against it, but what I am is I'm for more action than just something that's on paper.
I agree with you. That's the reason why I had you to come back. I've said the same thing. Get to your state legislators.
Okay, thank you.
Very good, thank you. Director Richardson, last word.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Dr. Whitfield. And I think in terms of community involvement, community support for our school district, unfortunately, it's been couched in a negative way. It's been couched as antagonistic. It hadn't been couched as supportive. And the lens placed on how we look at that involvement has been couched in a very negative way. I think there's ample people who are supportive, who want to get involved, who have been involved, a number of them in this room right here tonight, in support of making sure our school district is the best for all of our children, not for a certain sect, not for a certain group, all our children. And I think we need to recognize that as we contemplate this and think through this, Mayor.
Okay, very good, thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Is there a second? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. The ayes have it, thank you. All right, we can now move on to citizen communication. This is an opportunity where we allow 3 minutes to deal with a specific item that has not been previously brought to our attention and is not already on the agenda. I have got several cards here. I've got 3 cards on 3 different topics, and then I've got I've got 10 or 11 cards on another topic. Trying to deal with that in 3 minutes is going to be kind of tough. So I would hope that you might get together and find a spokesperson for that, and then certainly, unless there's a motion to allow people, we can take the full 30 minutes. We probably can do that and allow this group of people to have the remainder of the 30 minutes if there's no objection from the board. Yes, Director Hendricks.
I suggest that they speak 3 minutes. I have sat here on other occasions where plenty of people come from the West and they speak, and I'm suggesting that you all speak. 3 minutes each. Do you like it?
We can get close to 3 minutes, but we've got a few other cards, unless you want to make a motion to extend the 30-minute time for citizen communication.
I so move.
What is your motion?
what you said, and let each one of these individuals, what I said at the beginning, that they will speak, and it may exceed your 30 minutes, so what? I didn't
Okay,
come down here to play.
the first card I have, all right, well, let me take it in reverse order then. There's a motion to allow each person who's sent in a card up to 3 minutes to make their comments to us. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, say nay. The nays have it, so we'll keep it at 30 minutes. And we'll be fair to everybody. I think everybody can probably have a chance to make their point with
And
the
y'all feel
time that'll be
comfortable with
allotted.
that, okay?
The first card I have is from, I believe, Dolores Collier.
Good afternoon, Mayor and to the board. My name is Dolores Collier. I am from one of the oldest neighborhoods in the south end of Little Rock. Right now, Matt Stovall, the
Stay to the mic.
highway, my
Stay to the
name is
microphone.
Dolores Collier. And I'm complaining about the highway department. They overlaid our street, but however, they did the waste of the material and put it on the lot between 26, and that's Broadway and Spring. They had quite a bit of material left. You know, that black stuff you lay on there? They had quite a bit of that, and they just left it there. Now, they also used our streets to go back and forth to do the overlay on Arch Street. Now, our streets look mighty terrible. And I was just wondering, we supposed to be coming up for an overlay in the south end. But I was just wondering, is there any way we could move it up? Our streets look very, very bad. Now, Mayor Stovall, about 3 years ago, when you said if we could get the bond issue passed, you would help me to get certain errors, my error, they need to be redid, and it have not been done. So when we had, our lights went out, they came and they cut trees down, they left all the material still down there. I've been trying to get them to pick it up and pick it up, but however, I have not had any response. Now, Mayor Stovall, we did have pictures on our telephone, but you do not have any way where we can produce this to you this afternoon. We took pictures of everything that looked mighty, mighty bad down there. So again, I'm asking you, my representative, would you send them and help me to get things cleaned up? My neighborhood is really, really run down, and I do need the support of you and the board. Thank you.
Good. Dolores, if you will get with our staff, certainly if you've got yard waste that needs to be picked up and you haven't called, if you've called it in and they haven't picked it up, please let us know.
It's not yard waste, it's where they had to cut the trees down to put a new pole up, because you know how the light, when and we did that, and it's still there.
Okay. Mr. Moore, if you'd have someone get with Dolores Collier, please. The next card I have is from Russ Raycop.
Thank you, Mayor. I have two brief things I want to talk about. The first is I've sent an email to you, Mayor, and to Mr. Moore, and to my board representative, Ms. Wright, about the chief of police. The police department has they're up to shenanigans with traffic accidents. They don't ticket police officers from any force when they have traffic accidents here. And Chief Buckner was involved in one back in March, and another one about a month later that were both his fault, and he has not been ticketed. Now, one was in the street and one was on a parking lot, but I'll tell you, Little Rock Police does ticket parking lots, because my 80-something-year-old mother and another lady backed into each other at Kohl's, and my mother got a ticket in a parking lot. So if they can ticket an 80-year-old retired teacher in Little Rock, they can ticket the chief of police when he causes accidents. And I think that's reprehensible. And again, I've sent this information to you, so I know that you guys have it, and it'll be on my blog called Bad City of Little Rock, that everybody can see these documents. Now, the other one I have is Through my blog, I have obtained information through Freedom of Information Act that Mr. Carpenter, the city attorney, passed some erroneous information on to Mr. Moore. Mr. Moore blasted out an email and then went to a police organization and gave out some false information about Reverend Johnson. I think that he's owed an apology, a public apology from Mr. Carpenter and Mr. Moore for them disparaging his character.
Very good, Mr. Rakop, and this information was, that you provided was turned over to our staff and to the police department, and I don't know whether you've received a response or not yet, but certainly Mr. Moore will get you one as it deals with the police department. Let's see, the next card I have is from Reverend Benny Johnson.
Mayor Stoller, Vice Mayor Webb, City Board, I think it's sad and sorry that Bruce Moore has defamed my name. On last board meeting, if you go back and watch that meeting, I held up a piece of paper and said one of the chiefs has alleged not taking a drug test, but yet he sent a lie out about me saying that I talked about the chief. I asked y'all to go back and review it. But what caught my attention, out of everything I talked about, that's the only thing he brought up. He did not bring up about the chief being in uniform. You see it right here, supporting this campaign, this millage, which is against departmental policy. One of our retired captains was suspended for this same thing. Yes, Bruce continued to protect this man. He did not speak about this $400,000 lawsuit that Ken Buckner received in Louisville, Kentucky, against a whistleblower, a lawsuit that he lost in Louisville, Kentucky. That showed that he continued to protect this man. Now, Bruce, I'm not going to talk behind your back. You want to know why I gave this letter to the city board? Because I'm grown, for one thing. I don't answer nobody but the Lord. And the thing about it, you had it on your desk for weeks, and you refused to move on it. These are some serious allegations. And I'm going to tell you, you went to another meeting and said again after Tom Carpenter corrected you, said I've lied. I'm telling you, you're that far away from a defamation of character lawsuit. I'm telling you that right now.
Let's not.
But he sent out a lie, and I do not appreciate it. Two things I don't like: lies and cheaters. And he lied on me. It's just point blank, and I'm going to deal with it. Now this chief, we had come to you to the city board before. Y'all would not react on how he talked to black people. You refused to move on it. Now, he disrespected city director B.J. Wire one night here when she asked him about why police were moved from Southwest Little Rock. He said he don't think he should be able to explain himself here. And she said, I think you are preaching to me and you're being combative with me. And I also think it's sad and sorry that Bruce Moore put out a statement about Brandon Reed when his little precious baby, 2-year-old Ramau Reed, was killed. They're already going through heartache and pain, and he sent this out too. And that's just sad and sorry. He put this man's family in danger. And in closing, I understand when our board meetings have a problem with some of the police officers. We have some good police officers. Young man out there, he's always been respectful of me. Chief Bueller didn't speak to me because I don't care, I ain't looking for no friends when I came in. But it's also a statement made that we need to quit being hugger cops. Well, we got good cops out there. Now, I know police are supposed to build a rapport with our community. We don't supposed to just always go out and arrest people. And where's Sergeant Willie Davis? Because I need somebody to go call Sergeant Willie Davis because I need a hug. God bless you.
Mayor Stodola. Mayor Stodola.
Yes.
For the board's benefit, and I think I sent this, when the citizen communication occurred and the letter was handed out by Reverend Johnson, I wasn't given a copy, which is no problem. I just wasn't given a copy. I was taking notes. I wrongfully wrote down that it was Chief Buckner who had not taken the drug test and put it off. And I let Mr. Moore know that because I thought that was a very serious issue that needed to come to his attention. After I had let him know that, I got a copy of the letter and found out that they were not talking about Mr. Buckner. I have apologized to Reverend Johnson for my mistake, and I'll do it here publicly. I misheard and I misreported, and I know that the city manager was quite concerned because what I told him was a major infraction if the chief of police would not or refuse to take a drug test. And when I think I take the blame for that.
All right, thank you. Very good. I appreciate the clarification on the whole issue, Tom. Thank you. All right, I've got 11 cards remaining, all on the same topic, so we're going to keep it at 2 minutes apiece. Scott, if you will, please. And we'll get right into it. Janet Perkins, please.
You're harassing me. I don't get nothing you gotta say. Nothing. He's talking to me. I respect you, but he's coming.
Let's have some order. Let's have some order, please.
Mayor Stoller, Vice Mayor Webb, and the city directors. I have several issues around Martin Luther King Drive of properties that are overgrown. And the one that's on 24th and Martin Luther King was a property that was supposed to be built as a Family Dollar store, and it has not. It's been standing, the property was never built. The store was never built. Grass is always overgrown, and there's a lot of concrete that they pulled up. My main issue is around getting the grass cut. Last year, I called all the time to get the grass cut there. This year, I've already started, but I'm also concerned, wanting to know what's going to happen to that property. It's an eyesore. It looks horrible on that corner. The other two areas on the corner of between 18th and 19th and Martin Luther King, there's a house, on 22nd and Martin Luther King. The grass is overgrown, a house that is vacant, but the grass there on Martin Luther King is overgrown and needs to be cut. And the other is between 18th and 19th on Martin Luther King. The water stands there on that sidewalk all the time. People have to get in the street to be able to walk most of the time, even when it's not raining. So I'm just concerned about that area and looking at the area and trying to figure out how do we make changes on that in that community, and wanting to know what's going to happen with that property on 24th and Martin Luther King. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Perkins, and we'll ask staff to see if we can locate who the owner of that property is currently and give you an update on that, please. The next card I have is from Ruby Jean Jeffries.
Good evening and greetings from the citizens of the South End. To Mayor Stodel, Board of Directors, city managers, and other city officials, and to our ward director, Special Director Hendricks. My name is Ruby Jean Jeffries, and I live in the South End of Little Rock. As you know, the South End of Little Rock is the second oldest neighborhood in Little Rock. 90% of the residents are 65 years and older. Most of the residents work for minimum wages and are now on fixed income, where their monthly income is less than $1,500 a month. We had prepared a video this evening to show to the Board of Directors. And the purpose of the video was to present to you the declining conditions, the safety concerns and neglect of the residents, weed lots, high grass, and other code violations in which we live daily. We would like to thank Mr. Roderick Robinson for producing this video for us. In the process of presenting the video, we did have other members of the neighborhood that were to talk. Mrs. Leola Sabbs, would you please stand? Dr. Minnie Hatchett, Harold Evans, Carl Farr, Ricky Jackson, Roderick Robinson, Jackie Randall, and Henry Shorter. Mr. Carl Fall and Miss Jackie Randall and Henry Shorter are the only three that will be up. The other cards can be deleted. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Jeffries, if you would tell me the people that you wish to speak again?
The cards are numbered. Okay.
Okay,
Viola
there's-
Sapp said
there's more than-
she wanted to speak.
Okay, I'll call on them, and if they wish to
Okay.
speak, fine. If they don't.
Good
And-
enough, sir.
And as for the video, if you'll get it to us, I'll make sure that every board member gets a copy of it,
Okay.
so we can see that. We have actually the photographs of the properties that you have brought to our attention.
Okay, we have discussed that with the city manager, and he will get a copy of it.
Okay,
for-
very good.
For
Thank
all
you.
the board members. Thank you so much.
Leola Sabs?
I'm glad you waited a while because I tell you, I was boiling a bit back because, oh, I'm sorry, to the mayor and to this auspicious board. My name is Leola Sabb. I live at 3315 Martin Luther King. And it wasn't just a video that you could have shown. It was a video that cost $2,800. 11 minutes.
Well, there's a procedure,
okay, you don't have to
for that.
explain, you explained
If
it
you would
already.
like to make a presentation, then the process for doing that is not at citizen communication. That's the only difference.
I understand.
If you want to
You
delay.
explained it.
If you
Now,
want
what I'd like to say is progress stopped at 24th and Roosevelt. I mean, it's time stopped there. Nothing has been done in that area of any significance for, I know, 10 years I've been there, and to hear my neighbors, they said that things have not changed in 50 years. And I'm bound to agree with them. I heard the accolades for Central High School, and that's wonderful. But Daisy Bates has just as many visitors as does Central High. And to get there, they've got to come past all of those unsightly places on 24th Street. They got to come past burned out houses, vacant and abandoned properties to get to take a picture of Daisy Bates' house. In addition to that, we have that wonderful well over there. People come from all over this city, including outside of in the state and outside of the state, to get water at that well. I know because I clean it up every day. I'm saying to you that there are things in our community that are worth your time and effort. We pay taxes. I pay taxes. I want all the people from the South End to stand. I want you to see the poor people that live in fear in that community every day. I don't even come downstairs anymore because I don't know if somebody's going to shoot in my house or whatever. But these are the people that came down and prepared something that was worth your time.
Thank you very much, Ms. Saps. Dr. Minnie Hatchett, do you wish to speak, Minnie?
Yes, I will. I'll just say to the board of directors and to the mayor, this is a very serious issue in our neighborhood. And we prepared a video so you could review it and take action. As you know, for many years, 14 years, we have conducted the Great American and the Great Arkansas Cleanup. And we try, but we don't get the support from the city. I'm asking that you take action.
Director Richardson, did you want to comment on?
Yes, no question, Mayor. Just a point of clarification. Now that, and I have no desire to be here any longer than I have to be, but now that we've reduced the number of speakers, can we get the time back up to the original 3 minutes allowed?
I'm not sure we've done that.
I think one lady said that they took about 4 names off the list.
Well, let's see what we can do to get through these, please, and I'll try and let everybody have their say. Harold Evans? Harold, do you wish to speak?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
That will convince someone
To the
not
mayor and the board of directors, my name is Harold Evans. I've been living in the South End since 1958. Yes, ma'am. since 1958, I've been in the South End of Little Rock. And some of these things that they are attesting to are true. And if you all haven't been down there, I wish you would come. But I just have one question for this board. What would you all do if somebody fired an assault rifle 30, 40 times at night next to your home? What would you do?
Go ahead, please.
I called the police. No answer. 911, no answer. I called my sister. She called me, asked me, did I hear the shooting? She lives, a block and a half away. She called the police. The police answered, said they had several reports of this shooting. I went outside, 40, 50 minutes, no police ever came. I talked to our neighborhood alert police officer, Officer Goodlow. He was at that time at the Roosevelt Road facility. He said he didn't see anything on the blotter about the report. Nobody has reported it. This shooting thing has gotten bad in our neighborhood. And I really wish that, something could happen for somebody to get hurt. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Harold, and it is important to call in shots fired, and sometimes people don't do that. I'm sure people in this instance did, not questioning that, but for those people listening or watching on TV, it's important that you do call in when shots are fired, because we do have police that do respond, and I can't tell you why there was no response in this instance. But obviously, we're working to make sure that we have that information. It's very important. We plot that out technologically. We try to anticipate where these issues, these hot spots are. So I just want to give that advice that it's important to continue to call in if you have shots fired in your neighborhood. Carl Fair, I believe it is. Farr? Okay. Ricky Jackson? Ricky Jackson? Okay. Roderick Robinson?
My name is Roger Robinson, and one of the things that I like to make a habit of doing is when you identify a problem, offer a solution. Even if it's not the solution taken, at least don't complain without offering some resolution. So the issue that I would like to have addressed is dumping and illicit activity. It's happening quite a bit, and one of the solutions, one possible solution, if there are any hunters, I'm sure that you have used this tactic before. There are hunting cameras that you can mount to trees or wherever. The animals don't know where they are, but when they pass by, the camera starts recording. This could be a way to inexpensively document things that need to be addressed and get concrete evidence on those who are doing these things. So again, I just wanted to offer one possible solution.
Thank you very much, and we appreciate the suggestion of offering solutions as well as letting us know what the issues are. Jackie Randall?
Good evening. Mr. Farr has yielded his 3 minutes to me. And what I'm going to do is give a summation of what the video was about and what the South End looks like today. Would you make sure that everyone sees that? Mayor Mark Stoller, City Board members, City Manager Bruce Moore, our City Board of Director, Ms. Irma Hendricks. You have my condolences. We did have a video, and yes, it's real. But I'm here to summarize the purpose of our being here this evening.
We have 3 questions in line, and then I'm going to go over those. The question I asked is, why? Why? Why have the city neglected the South End for more than 25 years? Why? Why have businesses and homeowners not maintained and edified their properties? Why? We have vacant lots and abandoned houses, approximately 228 and counting in our area. We have rental property that is not in compliance with code. We have buildings and structures that have been defined as unsafe. Why? Why? These properties have created a haven for loitering, prostitution, drug infestation, squatters, and an unsafe environment for our children and families. With the existing businesses in our area not maintaining their property, they are not in compliance with the codes that have been set forth by the city. Why have we existing weed lots, high grass, vacant lots that are not being maintained by owners? Many of these lots have overgrown, and the city defines this overgrowth as back into its natural habitats. Natural habitat state has created problems for the people that own the property and that block where they exist. This has caused an increase in criminal activities, squatters living in houses that have been overgrown and covered up, dumping sites for unwanted items, abandoned cars, and an increase in wildlife infestation, mosquitoes, rodents, snakes, raccoon, possums, rabbits, and etc. This is not just in one area, but throughout the city of the South, it's throughout the South End community. This falls under codes and section 20-2-8-1-2. Why has the city allowed the uncompleted property that Mrs. Janet spoke of on Roosevelt Road last as long as it did, and no one has given an account as to what is there? This is another violation that is unsafe in the South End. Why? For safety, the city has not done enough to provide a safer community for our citizens of the South End. Overgrown alleyways have created a way for promoting drug activities and other illegal activities. Poor lighting, much of our areas are in darkness. Either there is no lights or overgrown trees that's blocking what little light they do have. The lack of policing, patrolling day and night. I need your time.
Are you Henry Shorter? Thank you, Mr. Shorter. Go right ahead, please.
Loose dogs roaming the neighborhood, making it impossible for people to walk without some protection. Overgrown trees over the sidewalks forces people to walk in the streets, also obstructing stop signs. An added danger we face in the South End. What? It's evident. It's evident that the codes have not been strictly enforced that are on the books. The city has not abided by this Little Rock City policy that states in reference to safe cities, economic development, basic city services, infrastructure, and quality of life. When do we get our tax dollars into our area? This is the time, now. The South End, we need you to make it whole again. Make it a viable and safe community for us. Allow those who are still alive, struggling to make this community work, and for the generation to follow. We would like for you to enforce all the laws that you have on the book and in the area that is most needed. We are a declining area. We love where we live. We would move if we wanted to. but the South End is an old neighborhood. And these abandoned houses and these weed lots is what it has become. So we thank the city, we thank those that meet with us on every month from the city officials, hearing our concerns, but very little is still being done. This is not the first time that we've talked about this. This is brought up every month with city officials. The things that Ms. Johnson here spoke about, we've talked about that. So we're here today to say to the board, we're doing all we can do. We ask you to do your part. Thank you.
The next card I have is from Wilma Smith. All right, the next card I have is from Diane Charles.
Good evening, Mayor Stodler, to our Vice Mayor, our esteemed Board of Directors, our City Manager, Mr. Bruce Moore. I have not been here in a while to speak before you, but I thought that this evening and for this conversation, I should say something. I am no longer a resident of the South End. However, I was born in the South End of Little Rock. My mother, Mrs. Ruth Evans, is 92 years old. She too was born in the South End of Little Rock. She still resides in the South End of Little Rock. And I do believe that my mother and other family members, to include all of the residents of the South End, deserve your immediate attention. They love the South End, and even though I no longer live there, I love the South End. I went to elementary school in the South End. I walked the neighborhoods, and I loved walking to Booker T. Washington Elementary School. It was a vibrant community. Beautiful homes, businesses flourishing, to include such business as family-owned businesses. We had grocery stores. We had barber and beauty shops. We had Fuller and Sons, Safeway store, many others. Please consider doing something to help the residents of the South End. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Charles. That concludes the cards that I have. Mr. Moore, it would be helpful to the board if you would give us an update on the number of code violations that have been issued, the staffing that we have specifically as it relates to the South End, everything south of Roosevelt Road. And also, I know that you provided a couple of weeks ago an update on the demolitions. The vast majority that we have been done in Ward 1. I guess I'd like to see if you can further delineate that in terms of north or south of Roosevelt Road, please. Director Hendricks, you're recognized.
Thank you. The first thing I want to say is that I notice I do not see familiar faces from the housing department, neighborhoods and housing, which is really unusual. Because that's where it begins with the housing authority. I wanted to thank Mr. Moore because he really wanted you all to participate, but we did not do the video, whatever that is, that you all were putting together, but just save it. Maybe we can show it at some other time. As director in that area for many, in fact, I can almost say I was born down there, and I think you all know how many years ago. It is ridiculous. all of these houses that you see, and to let the board know, this isn't the first time. We've talked about it, we've taken pictures, we've complained, but I said to the South End, get up off of your rumps and come to the board meeting and let these people know what's going on. I get tired of crying up here by myself. So I want to thank you all for coming tonight. If this is the first time the South End has been at this board meeting in this many numbers, and I do appreciate it. But I tell you, maybe we need to get on Mr. Moore. We need code enforcement people. That's all we hear. We are short. It's a shame that they're everywhere. And I want the board to know many, many times I've said to this board, you don't have this in your neighborhood. It's a black and white thing. And I think you all know I say it all the time. The only time you can win a suit in court is that you've got to have evidence. And I think we have evidence. We really started this issue that we have tonight is when we lost the girl, the young woman on 25th and Arch. And Dr. Hatchett and Mr. Shorter, who is the president, and Ruby and Jackie, some of these are my kinfolk, is that we decided that we needed to take those pictures. And I want to thank Mr. Moore again for letting you all do a tour. We did a tour just 1 week after the death of the young lady. So keep coming to City Hall and preaching to these folk, because that's who make the decisions. I'm outnumbered up here, and I think you know that, okay? Thank you.
Director Wyrick, you're recognized, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Moore, we have a document that's got, I think, 32 houses in it that are in various stages of disrepair. There are two that I recognize and go by twice a day, 2510 Arch, and the one right next door to it is, let me turn my page, is 2500 Arch. At that corner, almost every time I go by there, there's people that are hanging out on that corner. I drove by there one day, and there was a young man that was sitting on the corner. The next day, I drove by again, and he was trying to get in one of the boarded structures there. There was another time I went by, and there were 3 young men that were slapping around an elderly woman sitting on that corner. There is something to that corner that is attracting people, and it's not for the good of the community. So we need to pay particular attention to that. I did call 911 when the young men were after the woman, and I did report the young man that was trying to break into the boarded house. But I can't catch all of these people that are there. I just happened to be wandering through, but it seems like that corner is an attraction for people, and I fear it's not the best kind of attraction.
Okay, we can, Director Wright.
I have a question, and I guess maybe a comment. Regarding the well, is that not a historic feature? Is there not any
Question to Mr. Moore?
Yes.
All right.
Is there not something that can be done to preserve and maybe designate that area as some type of historic area and put some resources there?
You know, you hear different things about the well. I do, you know, we own the house right next to it.
Yeah, I know. I remember when it got closed.
Yeah, and actually I'm trying to figure out what to put back in there but we've got to deal with some mold issues and stuff. But, you know, I also know that the health department periodically checks that, and so I'll look into. It's owned by. We don't own that property. It's owned by a private resident.
I think I know who that person is, but I'm saying the whole area. Is there not some type of historic designation that it could get and get some resources allocated to it to kind of preserve, or incentives to get those houses renovated? Because there's some beautiful old structures over there.
Yeah, we you know we went through and did a and Director Hendricks, what the neighborhood we did it a little further north than that area. But I'll look into kind of the guidelines and see what it might qualify for.
Yeah, I'd like to see it added in there. I mean, you know, I know you all know I have nothing historic in Ward 6. Everything is after the war, so I hate to see some of these houses torn down, but I understand the issues that the residents are facing. They're tired of looking at this, but some of these structures look like they could really, really be fixed up, but some of them just need to come down. And I really feel your pain. Trust me, I have some of these, Director Hendricks, believe it or not, I do. I can take you on several streets where I have them, and I'm working diligently trying to get them torn down or renovated. But if you could, Mr. Moore, I'd sure like to see some emphasis, and you're going to give us a status on the code, because I know I'm down as well as far as code officers.
Let me just say, all of those positions have been filled. I mean, there's.
So we're not down.
Correct. We have filled all of those positions, and they're in various stages of training, which we have to ensure that they all go through the training academy. But we have filled all of the code officer positions. Now, there was one that was just vacant last week, but we'll move forward. They have the authority to fill every code officer position in that department.
All right, thank you.
Director Hendricks.
Thank you. On Mr. Moore's last comment, those individuals come and go. Just ask him, when did he hire them? You don't have to ask him. I keep up with that department because of the way our neighborhood look, but it's a vast turnover in that department. Am I lying?
You know, it's a tough job. I mean,
Well, pay them. This board needs to pay those people for what they do. So, Bruce, be quiet. Let me finish. The other thing that I want to say is, and I know Bruce is doing a real good job as much as he can with the board that controls him, okay? Now, I think that what we really need to look at is that, and to get back to you, Director Wright, Bruce has tried with us to get even Daisy Bates as a historic district. But you've got other entities on the other, on the other side that really doesn't want that to happen. But he can't do it unless he's approved to do it by certain people, okay? So, you know, I like to tell it like it is. And this happened way back. Judy's here. Judy Green, have you gone? Judy's gone. Judy and I, when Johnny Pugh was here, we tried to get that done, and it did not happen. So maybe we'll have to start all over. Bruce, you may remember we walked all the way to Roosevelt Road, and whoever it is told him that it stops at Roosevelt Road because we're black. That's what I say, okay? So that may happen now since you've mentioned it, and maybe I can get on top. I'm not ashamed to talk about discrimination because I've worked too long in that field for the NAACP. And nobody, if you don't like what I'm saying, hump it. That's how I feel about it. But I think that it's more that we need to do up here. And on these houses that you see, these houses didn't just get like this. These houses have been like that ever since I've been on this board. So it's a lax on the part of the city of Little Rock to take care. It's no point in south of Roosevelt Road looking like it looks. You know, but you go over on the other side of Roosevelt Road, it doesn't look like that. And it's a low-down shame. Some people need to start filing suits and stop begging. Thank you.
All right, let's move on to the grouped items, please. We've got ordinances 20 through 37 and ordinance M1, and I've got a request to remove ordinance 24 to be read separately.
See y'all next month. First time I've been able to get them down here.
First reading, please. Did you want to ask something now? Huh? Oh, you wanted to have it separately? Yeah.
I'm coming.
Call me tonight. Okay.
An ordinance to amend the Master Street Plan, adding Class 2 bike lane and Class 2 bike route on West 6th Street between Sherman Street and Shell Avenue, on 9th Street between McMath Avenue and College Street between 19th and 17th Streets, and East 17th between College and Barber Streets, and for the purposes. An ordinance to approve a plan and zoning development, establish a planned industrial district titled B&G Properties, short form PID, located at 3401 to 3423 Mableville Pike, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development, establish a plan office district titled Little Rock Racquet Club, long form PDO, located at 1 Huntington Road, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development, establish a planned office district titled the United Methodist Children's Home Campus, long form POD, located at 2002 South Fillmore Street, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes. An ordinance to amend Chapter 30 of the revised Code of Ordinances of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, to provide for a deferral of Master Street Plan construction requirements for West Charles Bussey Avenue, and for the purposes. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development, establish a planned commercial district titled Fitz Auto Expansion, revised long form PCD, located at 8421 Stagecoach Road, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development, establish a planned office district titled Dash Heating and Cooling, short form PDO, located at 12,417 Cantrell Road, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development, establish a planned commercial district titled Chenal Market, revised long form PCD, located at 16,105 Chenal Parkway, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development, establish a planned commercial district titled KLR Properties, revised short form PCD, located at 12,400 Cantrell Road, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development, establish a planned commercial district titled Midtown and Fair Park, revised short form PCD, located on the southwest corner of Interstate 630 and Fair Park Boulevard, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development, establish a planned commercial district titled Davis Storage Development, long form PDC, located at 8222 Stagecoach Road, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development, establish a planned office district titled 6608 Baseline Road, short form PDO, located at 6608 Baseline Road, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development, establish a planned residential district titled Graham Property Management, short form PDR, located at 1417 Kavanaugh Boulevard, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development, establish a planned industrial district titled Arkansas Indoor Soccer, short form PID, located at 6611 Young Road, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes. An ordinance to amend Little Rock, Arkansas Revised Code, Section 5-58C of 1988, to permit the Metropolitan Emergency Medical Services to provide basic life support response for non-threatening emergencies, to declare an emergency, and for the purposes. An ordinance to establish the standards for a master agreement for small wireless facilities to be placed in city rights-of-way in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes. That concludes, no. First reading.
There's a motion and a second, excuse me, to suspend the rules and place these ordinances on second reading. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Second reading, please. Did you do the M1?
Oh, no, I didn't. Hold on. To amend Little Rock, Arkansas Revised Code, Section 2-243 of 1988, to define the duties of an insurance broker selected as a professional service for employment benefit plan consultant, to declare an emergency, and for other purposes. First reading.
There's a motion and a second to suspend the rules and place this ordinance also on second reading. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Second reading, please.
An ordinance to amend the Master Street Plan, adding Class 2 bike lane and Class 2 bike route on West 6th Street between Sherman Street and Shell Avenue, on 9th Street between McMath Avenue and College Street between 9th and 17th Streets, and East 17th Street between College and Barber Streets, An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan industrial district titled B&G Property, short form PID, located at 3401 to 3423 Mableville Pike. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan office district titled Little Rock Racket Club, long form PDO, located at 1 Huntington Road. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan office district titled the United Methodist Children's Home Campus, long form POD, located at 2002 South Fillmore Street. An ordinance to amend Chapter 30 of the Revised Code of Ordinances of the City of Little Rock, Arkansas, to provide for a deferral of Master Street Plan construction requirements for West Charles Bussey Avenue. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan commercial district titled Fitz Auto Expansion, Revised Long Form PCD, located at 8421 Stagecoach Road. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan office district titled Dash Heating and Cooling, short form PDO, located at 12,417 Cantrell Road. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan commercial district titled Chenal Market, revised long form PCD, located at 16,105 Chenal Parkway. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan commercial district titled KLR Properties, revised short form PCD, located at 12,400 Cantrell Road. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan commercial district titled Midtown and Fair Park, revised short form PCD, located on the southwest corner of Interstate 630 and Fair Park Boulevard. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan commercial district titled Davis Storage Development, long form PDC, located at 8222 Stagecoach Road. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan office district titled 6608 Baseline Road, short form PDO, located at 6608 Baseline Road. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan residential district titled Graham Property Management, short form PDR, located at 1417 Kavanaugh Boulevard. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan industrial district titled Arkansas Indoor Shocker, short form PID, located at 6611 Young Road. An ordinance to amend Little Rock, Arkansas Revised Code 5, Section 5-58C of 1988 to permit the Metropolitan Emergency Medical Services to provide basic life support response for non-threatening emergencies, to declare an emergency. An ordinance to establish the standards for a master agreement for the small wireless facilities to be placed in the city rights-of-way in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas. An ordinance to amend Little Rock, Arkansas Revised Code Section 2-243 of 1988 to define the duties of an insurance broker selected as a professional service for employee benefit plan consultant, to declare an emergency. Second reading.
There's a motion and a second to suspend the rules and place these ordinances on third and final reading. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Third and final reading, please.
An ordinance to amend the Master Street Plan, adding Class 2 bike lane and Class 2 bike route on West 6th Street between Sherman Street and Shell Avenue, on 9th Street between McMath Avenue and College Street between 9th Street and 17th Streets, and East 17th Street between College and Barber Streets. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan industrial district titled B&G Properties, short form PID, located at 3401 to 3423 Mableville Pike. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan office district titled Little Rock Racket Club, long form PDO, located at 1 Huntington Road. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan office district titled the United Methodist Children's Home, long form POD, located at 2002 South Fillmore Street. An ordinance to amend Chapter 30 of the Revised Code of Ordinances of the City of Little Rock, Arkansas, to provide for a deferral of Master Street Plan construction requirements for West Charles Bussey Avenue. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan commercial district titled Fitz Auto Expansion, revised long form PCD, located at 8421 Stagecoach Road. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan office district titled Dash Heating and Cooling, short form PDO, located at 12,417 Cantrell Road. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan commercial district titled Chenal Market, revised long form PCD, located at 16,105 Chenal Parkway. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan commercial district titled KLR Properties, revised short form PCD, located at 12,400 Cantrell Road. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan commercial district titled Midtown and Fair Park, revised short form PCD, located on the southwest corner of Interstate 630 and Fair Park Boulevard. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a planned commercial district titled Davis Storage Development, Longform PDC, located at 8222 Stagecoach Road. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan office district titled 6608 Baseline Road, short form PDO, located at 6608 Baseline Road. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a planned residential district titled Graham Property Management, short form PDR, located at 1417 Kavanaugh Boulevard. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a planned industrial district titled Arkansas Indoor Soccer, short form PID, located at 6611 Young Road. An ordinance to amend Little Rock, Arkansas Revised Code, Section 5-58C of 1988 to permit the Metropolitan Emergency Medical Services to provide basic life support response for non-threatening emergencies, to declare an emergency. An ordinance to establish the standards for a master agreement for small wireless facilities to be placed in city rights-of-way in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas. An ordinance to amend Little Rock, Arkansas Revised Code, Section 2-243 of 1988 to define the duties of an insurance broker selected as a professional service for employee benefit plan consultant, to declare an emergency. Third and final reading.
Mayor Stodler, before you vote, just to make clear, on item 36, it's response for non-life-threatening emergencies. I think I may have messed up on that, so we'll get that
Tom, are
corrected.
you talking to us or who are you talking to? I don't hear you.
Say that again.
On item number 36, which is the change in the MEMS, it's to provide basic life support response for non-life-threatening emergencies, and so the
Oh, I
title
see.
would read like that.
There's a Scrivener error there. There should be non-life-threatening. Okay. We'll make that correction. Okay, all in favor of the passage of these ordinances indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. The ordinances have passed, and on the emergency clause on item 36, all in favor of the emergency clause indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. The emergency clause is passed. And on ordinance M1, on the emergency clause, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. The emergency clause is also passed. So that takes care of quite a few of the ordinances that we have.
Thank goodness.
We can now move on to a reading of ordinance number 24.
An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a planned commercial district titled James Mitchell School, revised short form PCD, located at 2410 South Battery Street, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes first reading.
Move to suspend the rules and place on second reading.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to suspend the rules and place this ordinance on second reading. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Second reading, please.
An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a planned commercial district titled James Mitchell School, revised short form PCD, located at 2410 South Battery Street, second reading.
There's a motion and a second to suspend the rules and place this ordinance on third and final reading. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, say nay. Third and final reading, please.
An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a planned commercial district titled James Mitchell School, revised short form PCD, located at 2410 South Battery Street, third and final reading.
Okay, we have two members of the board that wish to speak at this time. Vice Mayor Webb, you're first, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have some questions about this, and is the applicant here who could give us some more information about this proposed school?
Vice Mayor Webb, I'm Ernie Peters with Peters & Associates, and I may win by default. I'm really didn't come here this evening to represent the applicant. Wittenberg, Deloney, and Davidson is who that is. We're a subconsultant to them, but I don't believe there's a representative from Wittenberg here this evening. I'll attempt to answer whatever questions I may be able to.
So this is for a charter school?
That's
for
correct.
500 people?
535 students is the cap, yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Director Adcock, you're recognized, please.
I had some questions, but I need to ask the applicant.
Well, the applicant is not, well, Ernie Peters is here, but he says he's not the applicant.
No, I'd rather, the applicant is not here and doesn't plan to be here.
I understood that they were going to be represented here this evening, and I don't have any explanation on why they're not. But I'd be glad to answer the areas that I have knowledge in.
Just a second, just a second. I'm going to take the people in order. Director Hendricks.
Thank you. We have no problems with it. It's the ward that I represent. I have talked to the residents in the area. There are no complaints. My kids attended that school during segregation. I'm pleased with it. I live right down the street from it. So I hope nobody comes up here trying to raise hell about it, okay? Thank you.
Well,
Thank you, Director Hendricks.
I mean that.
Director Campuris, you're recognized, please.
If the applicant's not here, I'd like to table it for 2 weeks.
There's a motion and a second to table this item. Is there any discussion on the motion to table? Director Wright.
Mayor, I just want to be on record as stating, as long as Director Hendricks is okay with it, I'm okay with it, but I am kind of disconcerted that the applicant did not bother to show up. That's questionable in my mind as to why they're not here. But I do defer to her as the elected representative of that area, but there's been such a hoopla around these charter schools, I can't believe that there are no complaints about this. But I do have one question for you. Is this school is currently closed and boarded up, right? Okay, so this would be a use in the neighborhood, so that, okay. I'm just concerned that they're not here to answer questions, and I just think that's a level of respect that we as a board have to command, and if we don't and just pass things, that it sets a precedence that I think is rather dangerous. But I do understand, Director Hendricks, this is your ward, but I am going to vote in favor of tabling this. Thank you.
Director Hendricks, you're recognized.
The thing that I wanted to say is that I knew that this was coming when we sold. I was a part of Bishop being sold, okay? So it's nothing new to me. I've known all the time, and I did notify the residents that this is what was going to happen. And I want to say the motion that has been made to table this, I've been here 10 years, Bruce, and I'm going to do an FOI to see if this has been done before. I have known things to come on this agenda, and the applicant is not here. Color, okay? Color, black and white. Thank you.
Wait a minute. I've asked to table it because it's an important issue and the applicant needs to be here. It's got nothing to do with anything except being able to ask the person that's in charge.
Thank you, Director Campuris. Okay, the motion to table, is there, the motion's been made. All in favor of tabling this for 2 weeks, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
The motion to table is passed. We can now move on to ordinance number 38, and let me ask for first reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a planned commercial district titled Lawson Road West, short form PDC, located at 5,000 Hope Lane, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes, first reading.
There's a motion and a second to suspend the rules and place this ordinance on second reading. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Second reading, please.
I didn't hear a second.
Second.
Okay. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a planned commercial district titled Lawson Road West, short form PDC, located at 5,000 Hope Lane, second reading.
Move to suspend the rules and place on third and final reading.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to suspend the rules and place this ordinance on third and final reading. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Third and final reading, please.
An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a planned commercial district titled Lawson Road West, short form PDC, located at 5,000 Hope Lane, third and final reading.
Okay.
I have a question.
Are there any questions for anyone on this?
Yes.
Excuse me.
I know I'm.
Director Adcock, you're recognized, please.
Mr. Moore, I know that staff here has recommended denial, and I'd like for them just to briefly tell us about that, please.
Mr. Brzezinski.
I just didn't want you to get by a meeting without getting to speak to us.
I appreciate that very much.
Good. And how many more nights do we have this opportunity?
I'm not counting yet. A few more. Director Adcock, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the board. Item 38 is property located in the extraterritorial area. It's off of Lawson Road. And the request is to rezone it from R2 single family to planned development commercial for an office, contractor's office and storage yard, what we call a contractor's yard. And the commission did hear our arguments or our position, and they did hear from the applicant, and there was one individual, I don't know if she lives in the immediate area, but she's a property owner, and she spoke in support. The commission voted to recommend approval by a vote of 9 ayes and 1 no. Staff's position is on this, that in this particular area, you can see directly south of this property that fronts on Lawson, that is a PCD, that has a long history of being a non-residential use. So that was recognized. And then further west on Lawson, on the south side, just barely on the map, that's another planned commercial development. Again, a piece of property that's had a long history of non-residential use. Now, when you go back to the east, as you get closer to the intersection of Colonel Glenn, you see David O'Dodd and Lawson Road, that is a major non-residential area. There's commercial zoning, office zoning. There's still a pocket of R2, but the plan shows non-residential for that. For this particular site, the plan does not recommend non-residential zoning. And we just never, from the staff's perspective, envisioned this area going this direction to become significantly changed to non-residential. And again, as I mentioned last week, we were unable to really determine whether there's been any established non-residential use on this property. So we are not in support of it.
Okay, thank you, Tony.
Director Wyrick.
Is the applicant here? I knew it was you. Mr. McGettrick?
Mayor, members of the board, I'm Pat McGettrick, and I represent the owner on this, and I'd be glad to answer any questions you all might have.
Okay, the staff does not recommend approval on this because they feel like it's encroaching in the R2 area, and they'd always planned on this to be R2, but from the looks of what's happening here, this is all going to be behind the planned development commercial PDC or PCD that's behind there. Are there any residential structures that are close to where this location is?
No, ma'am, and as far as submitting for a PCD, basically, we're not doing any construction to any extent. We're adding about 150 square feet to a small little office building. The pole barn is to remain, so we can't do basically any different than what is there now. And there are no residential houses in any place near this as far as adjoining it. And the one owner that did show up at the planning commission was in full support of it. And several other of the residential owners out there were in support of it. They looked at this as being more of a commercial area. The PCD that was approved to the east of the site ended up being a Dollar General store. The PDC that's in front of the site is a commercial development, and we basically don't see any problem and had no residents against it.
And the staff could not find any commercial use for this area. Was it not part of an electrical business in the past?
Yes, it was. This property and the property directly in the front were one piece of property at one time and it was an electric company. That company went out of business or sold or moved. The property was split into two pieces. The front piece then came in as a PDC, and we're basically trying to come in as a PDC in the back.
Okay, and what are the plans for this development?
It's basically a small contractor's outfit. He'll use the pole barn for storage and the small office in front. And that's it. It's a small contractor, not any large company, not any large storage. And that's basically what he plans to use it for.
Okay, and this is a PCD, PDC?
Yes.
Again? Okay, I have a question for Tony. Thank you. Are you ready?
I am now.
Okay. What other uses can be put in this PDC besides the use that's requested at this point?
If I'm not mistaken, I think the request is just for what's before you, contractor's office and storage yard. I don't think they asked for like C3 uses or anything. It's not in the write-up, so it's what's before you is all that it could be used for if approved.
Okay, so in the event something if this was approved, in the event something happened, then it'd have to go through a rezoning process again for something else to go back there?
Or if the plan development's approved, typically that, another use goes in there, that'd come back as a revision to the approved plan and the plan
But
development.
it had to go through the planning commission, and then would it come to the board again?
Yes, because it's an ordinance, so that
Okay.
would have to be changed.
Okay, thank you.
Tony, what do you know what the use is of the building that's actually intersected at the top of this diagram on the north side?
It's vacant, right?
Is it a house? Is it a building? What?
The one directly north of the pole barn,
Yeah.
according to Mr. McGetrick, that's been removed. No, wait a minute. That's been removed, so the small,
And this one's going to be removed, that other little.
okay, that one's been removed.
No longer there?
I was out there, but there's a sign on that fence going into this property that says property under video surveillance, so I do not go beyond that, so. So I can
Is this,
give-
Mr. McGetrick, is this property fenced? Is it going to be fenced?
They're not going to add any, sorry. They're not going to add any additional fencing. It has some fencing on one side, but that's about it.
I see. Okay, thank you. Director Hines, you're recognized.
Call a question, Mayor.
There's a motion to call the question. It's been seconded. All in favor of calling the question indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, the question is, that's passed. So, all in favor of ordinance number 38 indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. The ordinance is passed. Is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a second? All in favor of adjournment indicate by saying aye. Opposed, say nay. Thank you very much. We're in adjournment.